The R language is very effective and efficient when it comes to sentiment analysis. Also, it's really simple to do, as we'll see in this short demonstration. First off, this is the data that I'm going to be using. It's from Hugging Face. We see review date, hotel name, and the review. The most important thing, or the first thing you should do, is determine what you want to do. Be very clear about what you actually want to do. So I've documented what I want to do, and I'll read it out. I have an R runtime. Using R, perform sentiment analysis on the review column in the data. Furthermore, 1. Recommend any data cleaning needed. 2. Show a chart of the average sentiment for each unique value in the hotel name column. 3. Show a histogram by month. Dates are in the review date column of sentiment scores for the hotel name that has the lowest average sentiment per the step above. Use a bar chart. You can add or change it as you see fit. So I'll take this, copy it. I'm going to use Google Colab. Now, if you haven't, and I'm assuming you haven't, used R before, or you're very new to R, please watch my video on how to use R, because I demonstrate how to use Colab, upload data, and so on. You can see that my data are already in Colab, so I will use Gemini. Obviously, as you go on, you'll learn a little bit more about how to use R, but for now, I'll use Gemini. So I'm going to click Add to Gemini, and I'll paste in my instructions, or what I wanted to do. I have an R runtime and so on. And I'll click Send. Just to make the screen a little bit bigger, I'll just close the file viewer. In the background, Gemini is determining what needs to be done. It'll come back to me with a plan that it has. First do this, load the data, for example, then maybe clean the data, sentiment analysis, and so on. It's done that now. So I can either accept an auto run step by step, or cancel, or I can put in another instruction and it will change what it suggests that gets done. So for example, it wants to load the data, clean the data, do the sentiment analysis, and perform these other steps. Now, assuming I'm happy, I'm going to click accept and auto run. Then Gemini will automatically create the code, run the code, check if it meets the needs. If it does, it'll go to the next step. If it doesn't, it'll rewrite the code and so on. So it just runs. Now, this will take a number of minutes. So what we'll do is we'll take a break and I will continue once this is finished running. The various scripts have now finished running, so let's see what we have. I'll just scroll down to the bottom in Gemini and we can see they're all the check marks, so everything looks good. I'll just close this by clicking the close icon and let's see what we have. Okay, so first of all, the data were loaded and we can see it there. Then various data cleaning tasks were undertaken, identify and recommend any necessary data cleaning steps, etc. Here it did various things, or it's saying it's going to do them for the review column: handle missing values, convert to lowercase, remove punctuation and special characters, etc. So it went ahead and did that. It installed the package called Sentiment R, and if you're not sure what a package is, I have a very short instructional video on that as well on YouTube. Then it started looking at the average sentiment per hotel, and it came up with an error, which you can see then corrected itself. Then it shows us for each hotel what the sentiment score is. Now, sentiment scores typically, for most, when you're doing sentiment analysis, for most packages, whether it's Python or R, they range from -1 to 1, with -1 being negative sentiment, the most negative sentiment, and +1 being the most positive sentiment. So anything sort of above 0 would be considered positive, and below 0 negative, and a 0 would be undetermined, basically. So we can see here that, for example, the Britannia International Hotel Canary Wharf, that had quite positive, but a fairly low positive sentiment score, whereas something like the Blakemore Hyde Park had quite a high positive score. So let's carry on here. visualizing it. So the table we've just seen, it's now visualizing it, and we can see which have the highest positive scores and the lowest negative scores. So the Intercontinental also had a fairly high sentiment score overall. Let's just carry on. So for some reason, the chart was generated, but the title was not displayed. So it wasn't happy with what it did. So it tried repeatedly again. And by the way, if you want to save, if you're at university, for example, for an assignment or an assessment, or if you're at work, you can just alternate click and save the image. So let's just scroll down. Okay, it tried various times. Okay, so then identify the hotel with the lowest sentiment. So it identified the Britannia International Hotel Canary Wharf as the lowest sentiment hotel. And then we said to it by month, show us a bar chart, by month of the sentiment. So what it did is it converted the date to a month, I believe. Yep, per month. And then it gave an average score for the month. There we go. And then we visualize it. So it's created that bar chart. So it goes up and down a little bit, the sentiment per month. Of course, we could delve into it deeper by asking Gemini to look on days per month, or which day of the week, for example, there might be a higher or a lower sentiment score, and so on. But effectively, that is sentiment analysis in R. Please share this video, like this video, and thank you very much for joining me.